Cool. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live stream tonight. We have Andrew and Tyler here from Neon Joystick Games, who have recently released a game called Neon Beat Rider. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. First of all, let's just get right to it. What is Neon Beat Rider?
Tyler, do you want to take this?
I'll take that one. Neon Beat Rider is a synthwave rhythm game with a 80s retro feel to it.
Cool, awesome. How did this game come together, and how many people are in your team? We've only got two of you tonight, but I hear there's a few more.
There's a full 6 people in our team: 3 designers, 2 programmers, 1 artist. Some people were working on it at the start and had to move on to other stuff, and some people have joined after that. We also worked with 2 musicians for the soundtrack on a contract basis. Yeah.
Nice. And you guys are graduates from AIE. What courses did you do? You, Andrew, first?
I started with Cert 3 game design in year 11, I believe, and then I wanted to try and dip in another course, so I did a Cert 3 in programming. That was 12. And then after high school, I felt like this is what I wanted to do, so I continued going into the advanced diploma in game design and production. And then from there to GDML, and then to where I am now.
Cool. So I guess before I move on, just to let everyone at home, we do have a range of courses from doing it at school and then moving after high school, and then we have our graduate diploma of management learning. So we'll get to that a little bit later. What did you get up to, Tyler? What courses did you do?
Mine's roughly the same as Andrew. I started with a Cert 2 in Cert 2 in 3D animation and Cert 3 in Game Design Foundation, done through an online thing at high school. And then after that, I moved to the city to do the advanced diploma on campus in game design, and then GDML through 2019.
Awesome. And you guys are from the Adelaide campus, is that right?
Yep.
Cool. Just to let everyone know, wherever you're watching it, Facebook, YouTube, please ask any questions in the chat if you want to ask these guys any questions about their games or maybe questions about Adelaide and what it's like to be at the campus there. Can you tell me a little bit more about the development of your game and how it started? You said it kind of started when you were in the advanced diploma?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Sorry.
So we were trying to find a project that we could get passionate about with major production at the end of the advanced diploma. And our team's programmer just happens to have a prototype beat recognition thing that he was working on. So we decided we could probably gamify that and turn it into a full project, and decided to go with a retro 80s outrun aesthetic to it and add more components to it to make it a bit more interesting.
Cool. Was this a style game that you kind of wanted to do, or you found out that you wanted to do this style while at AIE? Did you think you were going to make a game in this style?
Wouldn't have predicted it, for me at least.
Yeah, we kind of just went through the course not really knowing what style we were going to make. Once we started slowly creating the game through the prototype that we got from the programmer, we kind of just thought it would be a cool little nod towards the 80s style. So we kind of just went in that direction, hoping it would work out, and so far it has.
Yeah, it looks super cool. Sorry. Cool. So your game was released yesterday. Where can we find this game?
You can get the game on Steam and itch.io under Neon Beat Rider. So we put it out on itch.io on Friday, I believe, and then we got it onto Steam yesterday.
Cool. And you've been working with some sound producers. How did you get the sound in the first? She said that you did it in the advanced diploma. Who made the music then? Did you get outsider help from that then, or was that later when you were in the graduate diploma course?
We were working. Well, basically, we had two artists whose music we wanted to use in the game. So Andrew literally messaged them and asked if we could use their music in the game until we publish it, and they were totally on board with it. So from there, we kept using it, and then got into negotiations about rights to using it properly when we release it, and that ended up being sorted out.
Cool.
So yeah.
And how did you find that artist?
I believe I was just searching through synthwave music through Spotify, and I just happened to find the two artists that we're using, A Space Love Adventure and Droid Bishop, and started listening to their music and trying to see if it worked with our game and the feel and the style of it, and then felt like it really merged well, and wanted to see if they'd be on board. So yeah, Spotify actually helped us out in that instance.
Wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about the design of the game and the play style?
So playstyle wise, we have two different modes. We have your story mode, has a variety of different endings. As you play through, you will have conversations pop up between your wife, your work, and some others popping in through the story. And depending on who you choose to answer is depending on the way the story will go. Free flow is built to be able to have your music be imported, and the game will analyze it and hopefully be able to play your music, so you can write to the beats of your own music.
With the gameplay itself, basically it's just you have to get a certain percentage of beats to complete a level. With the boosts, we experimented with quite a few things to decide what made them useful in the game. We ended up making it so boost also functions as a shield, and you can take one hit, but it also encourages you to take risks and go really fast and make it harder to play the game. Yeah.
Super. Yeah, that sounds so interesting that you can import, hopefully, music that you have on your computer. Is that done just by files that you have, or is that through Spotify? Or
so at the start, we were trying to look at ways to be able to have the music being added through. We looked at during advanced diploma, we looked at through YouTube or Spotify or any other type through there, but unfortunately during it would be a bit too long. The time restrictions we had would be a bit too long, so it was just decided the easiest method right now was to have it just pop up a little folder on your computer where your music is stored in MP3 form, and then from there you'd be able to select it and hopefully play.
Cool.
In future, I think being able to get it to work with existing things like YouTube and Spotify would probably help it stand out a lot more. But we're stuck on that.
Okay. I guess what was when developing this game, what has been some struggles that you've gone through?
Struggles at the moment have definitely been this COVID-19, trying to get communications. Because we started this in advanced diploma, we were able to talk face to face and be in the same room. So the workflow it flowed quite well. And then having the COVID kind of put a bit of a spanner in it. It took a bit of getting used to over Discord calls, and then trying to find a nice workflow that each are with. So that's been the hardest thing so far that I can think of.
What about the beginning of the process?
Beginning of the process, I guess it was just trying to get the beat recognition going. We had a bit of a hard time getting that to understand all type of music's bass genres. We still kind of do. Unfortunately, we weren't able to kind of smooth every genre out there. So at the start, that was yeah. But we wanted people to be able to enjoy any type of their music. So that's been a struggle at the start and throughout that we've had.
Okay. What has been some successes, I guess, through your development journey?
Oh, definitely getting the Space Love Adventure and Droid Bishop on board with being able to use their music. That was a huge success. It saved us a lot of time trying to figure out a way of making this game work if we didn't have them. So with them, it was a lot easier. So we thank them very much.
Oh, thank you, music people.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess what made you want to get into game development? What kind of sparked that joy in coming to AIE and going into games?
Mine was more or less as a young child playing games with my father. That was our family time. We had a computer set up, so we did LAN parties. And I always just enjoyed the levels and how they were made and designed in a way to have the player in like a certain path. So that was how I started, and then continued to go through. I did a couple of odd jobs doing tests for some people, for family and friends who were making games. I found that it was something I really wanted to do.
Awesome. Any games that have stood out, like that you've cherished all the way through becoming a game developer?
One of mine was Diablo, the first one, as well as Star Wars Jedi Outcast. That was another one I played as a child.
Interesting. And what about you, Tyler?
For me, had an interest in games ever since I got my hands on a parents' old game consoles, a PlayStation and a Mega Drive, and I didn't really consider me possibly working in games until an opportunity came up in high school, where the Cert 2 course was mentioned by a teacher. So I thought, hold on a second, maybe I can actually work in games instead of something I'm not that interested in.
That's amazing.
For me, games that oh, sorry, you go.
Oh no, sorry, you go. And what game were you mostly interested in as a young child?
What's kind of stuck with me most is the Crash Bandicoot, especially Crash Team Racing.
Nice.
And just there's it's pretty long game history there for me. That's probably the bookend of it, though.
That's all right. And with making the game, I'm sure a lot of people out there are wondering, what engine did you guys use and why? If you want to answer that hard question.
At the moment, we're using Unity. Throughout our adventures through AIE doing its courses, we've generally stuck with Unity. So we just felt more comfortable developing on the Unity platform.
Okay, cool.
I've worked with Game Maker and Unreal, and generally I found Unity easier to use overall. So it's just kind of what I've stuck to.
Okay, cool. What was I going to say? So for Neon Joystick, what's next, I guess?
We have another concept really early in the works. We intend on going with a similar art style to Beat Writer, but completely different genre in terms of mechanics. So we don't have much to say about that at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Can you give us any? See what happens. Yeah, we'll keep following you along, and maybe we'll get you back next time when you release your next game. Can you tell us any more about developing the feel of this game and moving side to side and like going with the music and all that? Can you tell us any more detail on how you kind of came about that? Like, how did that start?
One of the first things we wanted to nail with the game is like completely clean transitions. So the entire game doesn't have any loading screen. It's not supposed to have any loading screens or anything. It's just like one big thing using one scene. Well, I think we managed to nail that for the most part. That's one of the first things we nailed down. Do you have anything to add, Andrew?
I'm blank at the moment. Really. I'm sorry. Just trying to think of anything that just comes to the top of my head. Wise.
What about this question? What do you think is important to have in a rhythm game?
Well, hopefully the music, firstly.
Good music, yeah. It probably has to feel pretty good to players and has to be pretty responsive. So I'd say that.
Cool.
I'd also say just that you can play to be enticed to continue playing. Wanting to listen to the next music and play through that.
Yeah. Cool. It's super cool how you got the two different areas. So you actually got like a story mode and then just play the game mode. That sounds super cool. Was that something that you wanted from the very beginning, or is that something that you added on later?
When we first decided to go with this, I really wanted to put in a story mode so I could actually work on a narrative for the game. And also it would help distinguish us from other rhythm games that don't necessarily have story modes. So, yeah.
Awesome. And for anyone that's kind of like looking at wanting to get into games, is there any words of wisdom that you can offer?
Stick to if this is something you want to do. There are places that you can do this, such as they are great and will help you with everything they can. They have the tools of the trade, so hopefully from there, it's your passion. You can take from what they teach you. Hopefully grow.
My advice would be get into it as early as you can. There's plenty of ways you can get into. You can just experiment with engines and stuff and just try to get as many experiments done as you can. Get some experience under your belt.
Yeah. So the first time you guys touched anything, was that in the certificate courses, or did you try stuff out beforehand?
I myself tried other things with certificate. Just knowing what AI used, I tried to get some experience under my belt before going in. Using Game Maker as well. I tried that for a couple of school projects, but they didn't really turn out all that well. But yeah, I messed around with Unity a couple of times before going into the certificate.
Cool. Awesome.
With me, I just somehow came across Game Maker and decided, wow, I can make my own games. So I spent a couple of weeks just messing around and trying to recreate existing genres like tower defense games. And on top of that, if any game I played had a level editor, I'd usually get sucked into that for a little while before getting sick of it.
Cool. And what would be your dream game to make? What type of style? Is it still doing this style, or would you like to move on to a different sort of area or genre? Probably a hard one.
For me, I'm happy to be, we're fluid with it, but I am liking this retro style. But genre-wise, I've got two. I've always wanted to make an MMO, but it's big and very, very unlikely. But the second one is a dungeon crawler. I've always wanted to make a type of dungeon crawler.
I've always wanted to make a game with a decent amount of story content, whether it's like a single narrative or just piles of in-game lore. So not really a specific genre other than that, just like something with decent story content.
Yeah. All right. I'll just see if anyone is watching on either Facebook or YouTube. If you do have any questions for these guys, just pop them in the chat and we can bring them straight up. So we can ask these fellas from Neon Joystick to see if we can answer those. Cool. What was I had another question. I guess maybe some words of wisdom when working with a team. Like you were saying that it was flowing pretty well. Let's not think about COVID. What are some ways that helped you really make sure that you stayed on track, and what was your reason of success? For success?
I would say that's just being able to keep up to date with this kind of mostly applies to a small team, but just keeping up to date with what everyone else is doing and making sure you understand how your work is either holding them up or how it affects them is kind of one big thing. With larger teams, it's probably harder because you need actual task management tools and everything, but yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Who was the...
I was just going to say communication was just a big thing that helped as well. Just open communication, and then as what Tyler said, knowing what you need to do, and if you don't do it, what else is being held up, really helped just getting it going.
Who in your team was the boss man that got a bit angry now and then?
I don't think we really had much of a boss when we were initially working on the project. It's just kind of we all had roles and it's a pretty open discussion most of the time.
That's nice to hear. That's awesome. It can either go one way or the other very quickly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Can you tell us, so it's on Steam, is there anything else that we need to know about the game to have the best time ever?
We are releasing a patch for the Steam version soon that fixes a couple of bugs we couldn't get around to, but anything else to add to that?
We are looking at continuing developing it, so any feedback we get, we will get on, and we'll hopefully try and keep this game alive and going for as long as we can.
Cool. And I'm guessing some good headphones?
Oh yeah, definitely. Decent pair of headphones so you can actually enjoy the music.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess one last question would be, are you having fun?
Even at the worst parts, there's still enjoyment to come out of working in games.
Yeah, knowing I'm working in what I've wanted to do as a child, it's extremely fun, and there's never a dull moment with game design. There's always something to do.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, that's nice to hear. Well, I just up on the screen, we just had Craig, who's working the back end. He just popped up the game on Steam. So yeah, do jump over there. We are going to be posting it in the Facebook and the YouTube page. So follow along with that link so you can go and check it out and hopefully purchase it. But do let the team know of any feedback or anything. As I said, that they're happy to update the game and keep it alive, and want to hear from the community. Any last words from you guys?
Just thank you for having us.
No worries. Thanks for joining us tonight. And everyone out there, go buy Neon Beat Rider and have lots of fun and have a little dance while you're playing. But thank you so much, Andrew and Tyler, for joining us tonight for our live stream. Next week we got something a little bit different. Starting at 3:30. We have Gene from one of our teachers. He's one of our 3D teachers. He's actually going to be going through a program called ZBrush and showing how to actually sculpt a 3D character and how that actually starts. So it's a program that's used to make stuff from Lord of the Rings to World of Warcraft. It is a program that is used all over the world. So yeah, we've got Craig's just popped it up on the screen. So go subscribe to Facebook, YouTube, go jump on our website to register so you don't miss out on any of our live events. And I guess we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, guys, for jumping on, and we'll see everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.